Hi chess friends, this is the FIDE master Alessandro Santagati, and in this video I will show you again that I played in the Sicilian chess championship. This was the last round. I played as white and I won against the Italian master Riccardo Marzaduri, and with this victory I won the Sicilian championship, so it was a very good result for me, and I'm very happy about that. So okay, we can go forward with the game. I played e4 and he played c6, so do you know the name of this opening? It's called Caracan defense, and I played d4. Okay, common move to take the center, and now d5. In other games I played knight c3, and knight c3 in this kind of position is the main variation, so simply develop a piece and defend d4. Another interesting variation is f3, the fantasy variation, but in this game I prefer to play e5, so the advanced variation, and now black played c5. It's also possible bishop f5, but c5 for sure is a good idea. The idea about this move is make pressure against d4, so we can my pawn chain, and this is the idea. Okay, usually if you play the French, usually you play c3 to defend the pawn structure, but in this kind of position with the Caracan, I don't like it, because after c takes, if I play in a common way like France, the difference is that there is bishop g4, and it's harder for white defend the pawn d4 without the knight f3. So in this kind of variation, I like to play d takes c5, because in this way, okay, I remove the pawn d4, because the pawn d4 in this kind of variation could be a target, so I prefer take it immediately. Now knight c6, and I played knight f3. Now he played e6. Another option could be bishop g4, and if bishop g4, my idea was play c3, because my idea is take the two squares. Maybe I can also play b4 in the future, and if black will take the pawn, not a problem, because I can take the knight and I win. Because if bishop takes, bishop b5, I will retake the queen, but with other pieces, because after this I take with check, king d8, I take with check, so it's a new fork, king takes, and now I take the bishop, and the next move I will take the rook, and the white has a winning position. So for sure this is very good for me. But he played d6, so that's okay. So now it's a French defense, we can say. And after that, c3. I played c3 because my idea was bring my bishop to d3, because my main idea was attack on the king side, and my bishop on d3 can be useful to do that, because in my mind he has to play bishop takes c5. So c3, bishop d3, castle king side, and it's my main idea. But he played a strange move. He played queen c7. He did it to make pressure against c5. But I think it's a mistake, because I'm not forced to defend e5, because if knight takes e5, knight takes, queen takes, I have bishop b5, and I can check, and I can weaken the king position. So it was a very important point. To be honest, in this position I thought about two moves. My first idea was play b4, but I was a little scared about that, about knight takes e5, because after that there is the check, and I'm not so happy about this position. But probably it's playable before, because after knight takes e5, I didn't see this variation. Bishop f4, knight takes f3, queen takes, now the queen is forced to go away, so for example I have the not d8. And there is a very nice dynamic way to play now c4, but okay, in the game I completely didn't see it, and I think in general it's very hard to see this variation, because we must pay attention about the king on e1, we must castle, but for sure this is nice, because white for this time is in advance in the development, so it can be a good idea open the position. So it could be another nice idea for white in this position. I played bishop e3 with a simple idea to defend c5, and I think it's good. He cannot take the pawn because if he will take it, I can take the knight, and it's not checked because the bishop can cover, and I can go to play bishop b5, and after bishop b5, well, I could lose the castle. After bishop d7, bishop takes d7, king takes, queen a4, and for sure now white is much better because the black king position is very bad now. So it's important now, pay attention about that. So bishop e3 is interesting because I can defend c5, he played bishop d7, after bishop d7 he can take because now the bishop can cover this diagonal, and for this reason I played bishop d4 to defend the pawn e5 and sometimes the pawn c5. Probably in this kind of position, the main idea for black is open immediately the position with the knight takes, pawn takes, b6, and after c takes, queen takes. Black has a good pressure against b2, and it's an important topic now to have a good position as black. So I think this is the main line for black here, and probably now the position is equal. I think the best move for white is playing knight d2, so give the pawn and go quickly for the castle on the king side. Maybe white is a little better, but okay, black can be happy about this position. So knight takes followed by b6 could be an interesting idea now, but he played knight d7, and now I played knight a3, and my knight can jump to b5, so he has to avoid that because then can jump to d6, and a6 I think is forced, and now I played bishop d3, knight g6, and I take because it's important for me to defend the pawn e5, and if I play queen e2 I was a little scared about the jump, knight f4, and for this reason I prefer to take on g6, and I think this is fine. b4 to defend and to make pressure on b5, and now g5. Now I played queen e2. The idea is defend the pawn because his threat is attack g4 with g4 and then take the pawn e5. Now bishop e7 to defend the pawn, and after that I play the castle. f6. This idea is interesting. The black idea is open this diagonal and make pressure against e5. Now I played h3 to avoid the push g4, and now f5 to support the push g4. After that I played rook d1. This move is very interesting because now the point is find a plan for white, and my plan was play rook d1, the other rook to b1 to defend b4, and then play c4 to attack on the center. He played knight e8, and in this way I don't need to defend b4 because no attacker against this pawn, so I played immediately the push to c4, and he played bishop c6. Now I think I made a mistake because I have an easy way to take a good position after, for example, c takes d5, bishop takes, knight c4. White is much better because my knight is very strong, can go is to b6, is to d6, and if black will take, I take with the queen, and this weakness is very bad. So for sure now white has a very strong advantage now. I didn't play it, I played another line, b5. It's not so bad, but was better play c takes d5. After that he played this, knight takes. Now he has to take my knight because my knight threatens to jump on d6, so I must take. C takes, and now g4. g4 is a nice intermediate move because it's very important for black open the h line to have a counter attack against my attack on the queen side. So the move g4 was very important for black. I take, f takes, and now knight only one, and now I played bishop takes c5. And this move is interesting because this move can allow queen e7, queen h4 to play for the checkmate, so that's interesting. And I played the rook c1. Now queen e7, I think a strong move. Now it's interesting to understand if I can take the piece, but there is queen h4 and now my position is very dangerous. For example, now my only move is f4, but also with f4 it's very hard to defend this position, and maybe black can play for a draw. if I play f3, I risk to lose the game, because after f3 there is a very nice move, b6. The idea is to decoy my bishop, because if I take now, the bishop on b6 is without defenders. And after queen h1, king f2, b6, king takes g3 is not possible for the mate on h4. So the only move is king e3, but then queen g1, and then the queen will take the bishop, and black can be happy about this position. So that's very, very incredible position now. Okay, in the game I preferred the don't risk and play queen g4, because okay, I'm sure that I'm better, so I don't need to risk now. Bishop takes, rook takes, and castle. a4, because now I can defend my pawn. In theory, black can take the pawn on a2. In this case, I have to play knight f3. We have the same pawns, but I think after castle, queen h3, white is better, because I can make pressure is against e6, is against the castle, and knight g5 in the future can be also another idea. So I have a lot of moves that can help me to make pressure in this position. So that's interesting, and okay. But he didn't take the pawn, and he played castle. Now I played a4, and knight f7, knight f3 to defend the pawn, and now knight h6. Its idea is easy, bring knight to f5. In this game I'm up a pawn, so I like to trade the queens. I think I have a good chance to win in this game, and for sure he tried to avoid the trade with queen f7. Now I got to improve my rooks, because the rook on d4 is useless for this time, so I bring my rook to b4, and they play the rook ac8. Now rook b1 to take them, to have the c file defended, and he played the queen f5. I think he is now without ideas, and he tried to trade now. I'm happy to trade the queens, and after that I go forward with a5, because this pawn can be a very important weapon for me in this game. He played the rook c4, I trade, d takes, and now rook c1. He played the rook a8, and after rook takes c4 I take a very strong position, because if rook takes a5, I have knight g5, and now knight g5 is very strong, because I can attack the pawn, but at the same time I threaten checkmate. And to avoid that, he played g6, but check, king g7, check on e6, king f7, check again, and now it's a lost position for black, because he will lose all the pawns, and his king would be very bad now. So after knight e6, black resigns, because now there is nothing to do, and the game is completely lost. For example, if king e8, I take the pawn, and it's very hard to play this position with the 3 pawns up for white. So yes, the game is completely lost. Okay, very well. So it was a very interesting game. I hope that you like the game, and if you have questions, feel free to write below in the comment. I will be happy to answer you. Okay, thanks for your attention. See you for the next videos. Bye. Remember to follow me on social networks and share the video with your friends. Thanks.